Hello everybody and welcome to another episode. In today's episode I am going to show you how to do full service interval on any Mercedes-Benz C-Class W204 from the year 2007 and up. So as you can see, today I'm working on this car, and this car is made in the year 2010 and it has the normal engine 2.2 liters. As you can see right here I have all the filters and the oil which I'm going to put in the car, and if you want to do an oil change on this car you will need 6.5 liters of oil. So today I choose to go with Mercedes-Benz with original oil, and this is the one which I bought for this car. To begin, I always like to start with replacing the air filter, and on this car, to replace the air filter, you'll have to remove some screws. You'll have to use a Torx 20 to remove all of the screws, and after that, you'll have to lift up the top cover, and you'll have to remove the air filter from inside it. And make sure you remove the old one, and you remember the position on which the old one was installed, because you want to install the new one in the exact same position, because if you put it in any different form, it will not fit properly into the air filter box and you won't be able to replace it so good. After remove the old one from the air filter box, I recommend all to take some comprimated air and clean the air very good, because you don't want to have any debris and dust inside there, because otherwise it will get stuck inside the engine and it will create you some problems in the future. So just get a piece of rags, just cover the pipe which will go into the turbo, and you'll have to clean the air very good, and only after that you can go ahead and remove the old one and install the new one back into the position. And as you can see, the new one is also made by main filter, and this is the correct position. This is how you'll have to install it in the car. Just remove the little plastic part which is over the hole, and after that you'll have to pull it inside the air filter box, and that's it. After you are done with replacing the air filter, I recommend all to go ahead and start replacing the oil filter. And to replace the oil filter on this car, in special, you'll have to buy a special set of tools which will help you to put the tool over the oil filter cap and remove it. Because otherwise, if you don't have a special tool like I have right here, you won't be able to remove the oil filter. Even if you use a special set of pliers, you will possibly scratch the oil filter cap and it will no longer be usable like it normally is. So I recommend you all to buy a special set of tools which will help you to remove it very easy. Okay, as you can see, after remove it, be prepared to have a piece of rag and put it underneath the oil filter, because it will spill a little bit of oil. And also I recommend all to take a clean piece of rag and clean it inside the oil filter housing. After that, you can go ahead and replace the O-rings from the oil filter cap and the oil filter itself. From here is very simple. This method is exactly like on any other car. You'll have to replace all of the O-rings and you'll have to put a new oil filter into the oil filter cap. And after that, you can go ahead and mount it back on the car. But also, I recommend well to spray it with some brake cleaner and clean the oil filter very good. And only after that, you can go ahead and mount it back on the car. Right now, as you can see, I'm done with replacing all of the O-rings, and also I installed the new oil filter back on the oil filter housing. And as you can see, right here, before installing it back on the car, I recommend all to take some oil, which you're going to put in the vehicle, in the car, and to lubricate the O-rings very good. Because if you don't lubricate them, there is a risk of probably breaking them into the oil filter housing, and this is not good. So I recommend all to lubricate them very good, and only after that, you can go ahead and mount it back on the car. And in this way, you'll know for sure that they will go very smoothly into the oil filter housing, and you will no longer have any problems with the mounting. After that, I recommend all to take a dynamometric key, and you'll have to tighten the oil filter to 25 Newton meters. After you are done with replacing the oil filter, I recommend all to go ahead and replace the fuel filter. And on this car, the fuel filter hasn't been replaced in the last 3 years, so this is why I'm going to replace it today. But normally, I recommend all to replace it every time you are doing an oil change. And to replace the fuel filter on this car is very easy. You normally only have to disconnect the two metal clamps which are securing the hoses mounted to the fuel filter. After that, you'll have to disconnect the sensor. You'll have one cable which is going to the sensor from the fuel filter, and after that you'll have two clamps on the side which are securing the fuel filter mounted to the engine. And from here, just follow what I'm doing. It's very easy. You'll have to disconnect all of these things. After that, you'll have to put back the new fuel filter, and after that you'll have to connect everything as it was before. Right now, I'm done with installing the new fuel filter on the car, and as also, we already replaced the air filter, the oil filter, and the fuel filter. And from here, what you have to do next is to go ahead and replace the pollen filter on the car, and then you'll have to go ahead and drain all the oil from the oil pan, and after that you'll have to put the new oil into the engine. To replace the pollen filter or the cabin filter on this car, you'll have to go onto the passenger side, and if you look right here underneath the glove box, you'll find this plastic part, and this plastic, it's mounted with 3 screws. You'll have to use an Torx 20 to remove all of these screws, and after that you'll find the pollen filter right there. And to remove it, it's very easy. You will only have to slide the plastic part, you'll have to slide it, and to remove 2 metal clamps, and that's it. So right here is the pollen filter on this car. This is the location, and this is how it's looking. And to remove it, you'll have to slide this white plastic piece. You'll have to slide it anti-clockwise, and after that you'll have to remove this metal clip from one corner. And normally you'll have another one onto the other corner, but on this car I didn't have it, so I don't have to worry about it. And then you'll have to pull out the old pollen filter, and you'll have to install the new one back into its place. As you can see, the new pollen filter is mounted into the car, and from here you will only have to put back the plastic piece, and after that you are done. You can go ahead and drain all the oil from the oil pan. Before trying to remove the old oil from the oil pan, you'll have to go underneath the car, and probably you will find this big undershield on your car, because this is mounted on most of the cars out there, especially on Mercedes-Benz cars, and you'll have to use an 8mm socket to remove all of the bolts which is securing it mounted to the car. After that, you'll have access to the oil pan, and as you can see from this position, the drain plug bolt is right here on the left side, and you'll have to use a 19mm socket to remove the drain plug. And only after that you will be able to remove all of the oil from the engine, and then when you will see that the oil is no longer leaking from the oil pan, you can go ahead and put the new drain plug bolt and tighten it to spec. You'll have to tighten it to 30 Newton meters. After you are done with tightening the bolt to 30 Newton meters, I recommend all to take some brake cleaner and clean the area very good. And as you can see, in my case, this car has some leaking problems. It's leaking oil from the injectors and also from the thermofloat, I think. But I will have to figure out exactly where the problem is, and I have to fix it in the future. After that, all you have to do is to put the oil back into the engine. So like I told you at the beginning of this video, you'll have to put 6.5 liters of oil in this engine, in this 2.2 liters engine. But if you are doing this oil change on a different engine, you'll have to figure out exactly how many liters of oil you'll have to put in your engine. But in this car, I will have to put 6.5 liters of brand new oil. After that, I recommend all to start the vehicle. You'll have to turn on the ignition a few times. You'll have to put it on and take it back, because you'll want to prime the fuel pump. You'll have to push the fuel into the new fuel filter, and only after you are doing this a few times, I recommend all to do this 10 times. After that, you can go ahead and start the engine, and everything will be perfectly as before. After you are done with putting the oil back into the engine, I recommend all, like I told you earlier, to put the ignition a few times and take it back. You have to put it, wait 2 or 3 seconds, and then take it off. And you have to put it again, and so on. And I recommend all to do it 10 times, like I told you earlier, because only by doing this method, the fuel pump will push the fuel into the new fuel filter, and after that you'll be able to start the car. If you are not doing this thing, if you are not following my advice, you will start the car and the fuel pump will not be primed and the car will shut down automatically, and then it will start very hard because there's no fuel into the fuel filter and you'll have probably more problems in the future. So I recommend all to prime the fuel pump. I recommend all to put the ignition to push the fuel into the new fuel filter, and only after doing this a few times you will be able to start the car without any problems. After you start up the car, I recommend you all to check for any oil leaks. You'll have to check the oil filter, the fuel filter, and also the drain plug bolt from the oil pan. And if there are no leaks, you'll have to put back the undershield from the car. And as also, my car did start very well in my case, and this is all you have to do. This is how to do a full service interval on any Mercedes-Benz C-Class W204. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video and found it informative, please leave a like and a comment down below. See you next time.